My friend, I may not know your story, the pain you've endured, the nights you've cried in silence, the weight you've carried behind closed doors. But I came with a message today, a holy interruption that will shake the foundations of your discouragement. God knows. He sees what others miss. He hears what you can't bring yourself to say. He feels the ache behind your strength, the heaviness behind your smile. And He has not turned His face from you. In fact, the very reason you're hearing these words right now is because God is about to move. A divine transfer is coming, not by chance, not by coincidence, but by the decree of heaven, straight from the throne of mercy into the heart of your life. Some of you have been walking through seasons of lack of peace, lack of strength, lack of clarity, lack of support. You've questioned God's nearness. You've prayed until your voice trembled, only to be met with silence. You've watched doors stay shut. You've seen others rise while you wrestled to stand. But hear me now. God has not forgotten you. He is not ignoring you, and He is certainly not done with you. What He's building in secret will soon be revealed in power. What He's preparing behind the veil will soon shatter every delay with divine fulfillment. This divine transfer is not ordinary, it's not random, it's not luck. It's the result of your obedience, your endurance, your surrender. This isn't about begging for scraps from heaven's table. This is about God declaring it's your time. Your time for peace, your time for clarity, your time for strength restored and purpose ignited. So stand still, child of God, lift your eyes, open your hands, because what's coming is not just an answer to your prayer, it's a fulfillment of your destiny. There is a shift coming that no demon can block, no enemy can sabotage, and no human hand can interfere with. What is written for you cannot be erased by another. The delay was never denial, it was preparation. You've been forged in the fire for this moment, and God has been watching the furnace. He never left the room. He's been waiting for the fullness of time, and that time is near. Some of you have been surviving on just enough, living paycheck to paycheck, living faith to faith, day to day, tear to tear. But a divine transfer is not about survival. It's about overflow. When God moves, He doesn't come with a spoon, He comes with a flood. And when He decides to shift something in your favor, there is nothing you will lack. The energy you lost is coming back. The time you feel was wasted is going to be restored. The people who walked out are going to be replaced by people who walk in with divine assignment. You've been in a waiting room while others have been in the spotlight. But understand this, a waiting room is not a punishment, it's preparation for promotion. When God puts you on hold, it's not to hurt you, it's to build you, shield you, and align things that are unseen. What is coming to your life is not random, it is targeted. It carries your name, your purpose, and your destiny. And when it hits, you'll look back and say, if I had gotten it sooner, I wouldn't have been ready. If I had taken that route, I would have missed the blessing. Thank God for the wait, because now I can handle the wait. God is not stingy. God is not a withholder. God is a giver, a provider, a restorer. And what you need, whether it is spiritual strength, mental clarity, financial stability, or relational peace, is already accounted for in heaven. You're not asking for something God has to invent. It's already prepared. The issue isn't whether God can do it. The issue is whether you will trust Him while He unfolds it. And let me tell you, your faith has not gone unnoticed. Every time you chose to believe when you had no proof, heaven recorded it. Every time you prayed when you were discouraged, it was written. Every tear you cried was caught, not wasted. The transfer is coming because your faith has pulled it down. And hear this, a divine transfer does not always begin with addition. It begins with subtraction. Some things had to be taken, some people had to leave, some plans had to fall through. Because what God is sending cannot fit in a crowded room. He had to make space. That closed door wasn't a curse, it was pruning. That disappointment wasn't punishment, and it was pruning. That loss didn't end your story, and it refined it. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. And when God positions you, even setbacks become setups for divine encounters. Do not let the weariness in your bones deceive you. Do not let the quietness of the season make you think heaven is silent. Do not let the whispers of doubt drown out the roar of destiny. God is about to do something that will shut the mouth of every liar who said you would never rise. He is about to shift the balance in your favor. The ones who thought you were finished are about to see God lift you, not because you're perfect, not because you earned it, but because God delights in doing the impossible through the overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not overlooked. You are favored. And favor doesn't need public approval. It just needs divine timing. And when the timing of God meets the faith of His servant, nothing can stop what is about to be birthed. There is a divine transfer that's going to touch your household, your mind, your future. It's not coming from man, it's coming from God. That means no one can take credit and no one can block it. What's coming for you is coming by the hand of the one who formed you in secret and called you in purpose. Lift your head, straighten your back. You are not beneath, you are being prepared to be above. You are not abandoned, you are being set apart. The waiting season was not punishment, it was preservation. God has kept you not because He was ignoring you, but because He was saving the best for last. You will not go down in defeat. You will not end in shame. You will not break beneath the pressure. The same God who sustained you in the valley, He is the God who will elevate you in the light. And let me tell you something else. This divine transfer is not just for your comfort. It's for your calling. When God blesses, He blesses with purpose. You're not being lifted so you can sit pretty. You're being raised so you can carry weight. What you've been through has not been in vain. You've got something to say now. You've got scars that speak. You've got wisdom that came through wounds. And you've got the strength of someone who's been through hell but never gave up. An act of merit's got to get up. That's who God raises. Not the flashy, but the faithful. Not the loud, but the loyal. And you've been loyal to God even when it was lonely. So prepare your heart, not for more of the same, but for the supernatural. God is about to release favor you didn't apply for, opportunities you didn't chase, doors you didn't knock on, connections you didn't plan. Why? Because your obedience pulled it, your faith unlocked it, your surrender drew it in. You've been sowing in tears, but you're about to reap in joy. You've been trusting in silence, but God is about to speak publicly. The same God who hid you is about to reveal you. And when He reveals you, it will be undeniable. Nobody will be able to say it was coincidence. They'll look and say, surely this is the work of God. So walk like it's coming, pray like it's near, live like it's already been done. Because God doesn't give warnings without a reason. This message is not hype, it is a heavenly announcement. Something is being shifted, something is being released, something is being reordered, and your name is on it. Your season is changing, your wilderness is ending, your oil is flowing again, and your joy is about to return. Stay faithful, stay humble, stay ready. Because when God transfers, He doesn't trickle, He floods. When God opens His hand, He satisfies every need. When God moves, no man can reverse it. This is not the time to quit. This is not the time to doubt. This is not the time to shrink back. This is the moment to believe, with every fiber in your being, that God is still in control. That He has not overlooked your prayers, that He has not forgotten your name, that He has not ignored your obedience. A divine transfer is not about what you can earn, it's about what God has already determined, and what has been determined in heaven is about to manifest on earth. The same God who brought water out of a rock can bring provision out of your desert. The same God who made a way through the sea can make a way through your mess. Don't let what you see confuse what you believe. The transfer is not about sight, it's about faith. And if you have the faith to believe it, God has the power to deliver it. There is a shaking happening in the Spirit, a stirring, a shifting. And when God shifts, things move fast and suddenly, without warning, without protocol. That's how heaven moves, and it moves for those who are ready, not perfect, just ready. Are you ready? Are you expectant? Are you open? Because God doesn't force favor, He flows it to the prepared. Don't worry about who left. Don't worry about what you lost. Don't worry about how it will happen. Just know God knows. He knows what you need. He knows how to get it to you. He knows what time it will arrive. And when it does, you will not be able to explain it. You'll only be able to testify, God did this. You are not empty. You are not abandoned. You are not cursed. You are on the edge of something divine, and it's coming straight to you. Hold on a little longer. Trust a little deeper. Expect a little greater. Because God is moving, and when He moves, He brings it all with Him. Healing, restoration, provision, purpose, protection, and peace. The transfer is not just coming to your hands, it's coming to your heart, your household, your destiny. You've cried long enough. You've waited long enough. You've fought long enough. Now get ready. God knows you need it, and it's coming. Let me tell you something, and I need you to hear it with every ounce of your spirit. God is not trying to impress you. He is trying to bless you. But before the blessing flows, He often breaks. He doesn't break you to destroy you. He breaks you to prepare the vessel for what is about to be poured. Many of you have been feeling that break. You've been feeling stretched, stripped, tested, and torn. And you've wondered, why God? Why now? Why me? But God answers not with words, but with outcomes. He lets the storm come not to shake your faith, but to strengthen your roots. He allows the pressure not to crush you, but to press the oil out of you. You cannot carry the weight of the divine until you have gone through the refining. You cannot step into purpose until you've passed through fire. You see, God's preparation doesn't look like comfort. It looks like chaos to the natural eye. But to the spiritual, it's alignment, it's precision, it's orchestration. The setbacks are setups. The losses are lessons. The tears are water for the seeds of your next harvest. And that harvest, my friend, is not going to be common. It's going to be supernatural. You won't just receive what others expect. You will receive what only God can provide. And this is important. Stop measuring God's promises by human standards. His ways are not your ways. His timing is not your calendar. What takes man 10 years, God can do in a moment. He can open one door that changes your entire bloodline. He can send one opportunity that redeems a decade of delay. He can whisper one instruction that shatters every chain that's held you back. And He does it not because you are worthy in the eyes of man, but because you have been faithful in the eyes of God. Some of you think it's too late. You think you're too old, too broken, too far gone. You think the window has closed, that the moment has passed. But hear this, God is not limited by time. Time bends to His will. And when He says now, every force in existence bows. The years you thought were wasted, He can redeem. The energy you thought was gone, He can restore. The opportunity you think you missed, God can bring it back around. Better, bigger, more blessed than you can ever imagine. When God transfers something, it is never random. It is always righteous. It is always measured. It is always intentional. This is why the process has felt so intense. You are not just being blessed, you are being entrusted. God doesn't waste His power on vanity. He blesses with vision. And He is about to place something in your life that will not only change your condition, it will change your capacity. You won't just be healed, you will become a healer. You won't just be restored, you will become a restorer. You won't just be lifted, you will become a lifter of others. You must understand that what you're going through has been shaping your spiritual authority. Pain forges power. Loss forges wisdom. Delay forges discernment. And without those things, the blessing would crush you. But now, God sees that you're not who you were. You've grown. You've matured. You've learned how to hear Him in silence and trust Him in darkness. That's why the transfer's coming, not just because you need it, but because you're ready to carry it. Don't let people distract you in this hour. When God is about to move, the enemy sends noise. He sends offense, confusion, temptation, and distraction. He wants your mind off the promise and on the problem. He wants your eyes off the spiritual and glued to the natural. But you must rise above the noise. You must protect your focus like it's your future. Because it is. Keep your eyes on God. Keep your heart guarded. Keep your spirit tuned. Because when the hand of God moves, it does not wait for public consensus. It moves for those who are aligned, alert, and available. And let me make something very clear. You don't need to chase what God has commanded to come to you. You don't have to manipulate, force, beg, or strive. You only need to be faithful. Divine transfers are attracted to obedience. When you stay faithful in the dark, God rewards you in the light. You may not have the platform, but you've got the presence of God. You may not have the network, but you've got the favor of God. And favor can do what connections never could. Favor can lift you from the back of the line to the front without explanation. Favor can bring resources to your feet that you didn't even ask for. God is not looking for perfection. He is looking for surrender. He is looking for those who will say, even when I don't see it, I will trust you. Even when I don't feel it, I will believe you. That's who the divine transfer is coming for. Not the loudest, not the most polished, not the most connected, but the most surrendered. God can use anyone who stays humble, who stays hungry, and who keeps their heart pure. Your tears have been seen. Your prayers have been heard. And God is dispatching things into your life, even now, that you cannot comprehend. He is aligning people who will support your next season. He is clearing out enemies before you even reach the battlefield. He is touching hearts in rooms where your name is being mentioned, and you haven't even entered the door yet. That's how God works. He goes before you. He works behind the scenes. And when the curtain opens, all you can do is fall on your knees and say, only God could have done this. But hear me closely. Don't just prepare your hands to receive. Prepare your heart to steward. The blessing is not about status, it's about service. What you are receiving is meant to be poured out again. It's not just for you to hold, it's for you to release. God is transferring wealth, wisdom, influence, and insight, not for your ego, but for His glory. Not for your applause, but for the healing of others. The weight of this blessing requires spiritual maturity. It requires you to stay grounded, stay grateful, and stay generous. There will be tests. There will be distractions. There will be temptations to slip into pride or to doubt again. But remember this, the same God who brought it to you is the same God who can keep you through it. Don't look at the size of the blessing. Look at the strength of your God. Don't let the fear of failure rob you of the joy of divine favor. You are equipped for this. You are ready for this. You were made for this moment. Your life is about to change in ways you didn't anticipate. Your season is about to shift so dramatically that people will ask, what happened? And all you will be able to say is, God moved. God transferred something from His realm into your reality. What was blocked is now flowing. What was dry is now overflowing. What was impossible is now unfolding. And all of it was orchestrated by the one who never sleeps, never fails, and never makes a mistake. So do not fear, do not doubt, do not retreat. This is the hour to stand in faith like never before. Speak life over your future. Declare the promise over the problem. Praise God before you see the evidence. Worship Him in the waiting. Because the waiting is not empty. It is the womb of miracles. And your miracle is on the way. You don't need the approval of the world. You need the anointing of God. And that anointing is coming with a transfer. A spiritual deposit is being released. A divine inheritance is being unlocked. And it's coming to the faithful, to the surrendered, to the ones who've held on with trembling hands but unwavering hearts. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are marked. And what is marked by God cannot be stolen, delayed, or denied. So prepare yourself, not with panic, but with praise, not with fear, but with faith. Because when God says it's time, no man can stop what is destined to be yours. This is not hype. This is not a feeling. This is the voice of God whispering into your life. I have seen your pain. I have counted your tears. I have heard your groans in the dark. And I am sending the answer. I am sending the increase. I am sending the breakthrough. I am sending the divine transfer. And it shall come to pass. There is a moment in every destiny where heaven collides with earth, where silence breaks into movement, where delay gives way to divine release. That moment is not determined by the noise of men, but by the will of God. And I speak this with full assurance. Your moment is being summoned by the hand of the Almighty, not by coincidence, not by accident, but by divine instruction. God has issued the order, and when God speaks, creation moves. When God commands, nothing created, nothing seen or unseen can resist or delay His word. You see, the transfer is not about ease, it's about evidence. Evidence that God has not left you. Evidence that your prayers were not wasted breath. Evidence that the sleepless nights, the silent battles, the lonely roads were all steps in a divine pattern. Too often we look for God in what feels good, but God is most present in what forms us. And the fire that refines you is the same fire that is now opening the gates of favor. God is not just blessing you to comfort you. He is blessing you to reveal Himself through you. When God moves in your life, it's not just so that you can say, I made it. It's so that others will look at your life and say, surely God lives. Your breakthrough becomes someone else's proof. Your restoration becomes someone else's roadmap. You become a living testimony, not because you chose to be strong, but because God chose to show His strength through your weakness. That's the divine transaction. God takes your ashes and gives you beauty. He takes your silence and fills it with purpose. He takes your emptiness and floods it with overflow. Do not measure your current condition and assume it is your conclusion. God's story for your life is not confined to this chapter. You may be at the bottom now, but God has already written the rise. The page will turn, and when it does, the scenery will change. You won't have to strive for it. You won't have to fight for attention or beg for favor. God will make your name known in the places that matter, not for ego, but for impact. He will elevate the humble, and He will silence the voices that tried to bury you, not with revenge, but with undeniable evidence of His power. The blessing that is coming will correct every lie spoken over your life. It will heal every place that was broken. It will confirm every promise you thought was lost in the wilderness. But you must not look to man for validation. Man will applaud what he understands, but what God is about to do in your life will surpass understanding. This is why you had to walk alone for a while. This is why you couldn't explain the process. Because this transfer isn't man-made, it's God-ordained. There are seasons when God hides you, not to punish you, but to protect the potential. He does not allow premature exposure, but because exposure without preparation brings destruction, and what you are carrying is holy. What you are carrying is sacred. The favor that is coming is heavy, and it cannot rest on weak foundations. That's why the shaking had to come. That's why the pruning was necessary. God had to strengthen the root before He could allow the fruit. Because what is coming isn't just a visitation, it's a habitation. You are not just being blessed for a moment, you are being established for a lifetime. And understand this, God is a master of timing. You may feel late in your own mind, you may think you've missed windows, missed chances, missed favor. But God does not miss, He is never early, He is never late, He is always right on time. What you thought was a detour was actually divine direction. Every no was a redirection. Every delay was a preservation. Every closed door was God's hand saying, "Not this one, not now. Wait for what I have prepared." You must keep your posture right. The divine transfer is not only about what you receive, it's about how you receive it. Pride will shut the door that humility opens. Bitterness will block what gratitude would welcome. Prepare your heart, if not just your hands, make room in your spirit for something greater than you've imagined. The size of the transfer will match the size of the preparation. If your faith has been stretched, it's because God is sending something big enough to fill that. And hear me well, you're not being overlooked. You're being reserved like the finest treasure. God has kept you hidden for an appointed time. Not everyone was meant to go where you're going. Not everyone was qualified to understand what God was forming in you. That's why you felt misunderstood. That's why the crowd thinned. But isolation does not equal abandonment. Sometimes it's in the solitude that God downloads the clearest instructions. And now, the instructions are turning into manifestations. Your mindset must shift. Stop asking if you're worthy and start believing that God is faithful. The blessing is not about what you deserve, it's about what God has decided. And He has decided that your time has come. So walk in it, not arrogantly, but confidently. Not boastfully, but boldly. Not because you are strong, but because God is with you. And when God is with you, nothing can stand against you. Not fear, not failure, not even the weight of your own past. Let your mouth begin to align with the movement of God. Speak life, not death. Speak destiny, not defeat. Speak vision, not victimhood. Speak like the transfer is already in motion. Because your words have weight, they are seeds. And what you sow today, you will live in tomorrow. The divine transfer is not just physical, it is mental, emotional, and spiritual. It's a full shift, not just in your situation, but in your identity. You're not who you used to be. God has been reshaping you into someone who can carry divine responsibility with honor and power. Let this message ring deep into your soul. God knows. God has seen what they didn't. God has heard what they ignored. God has planned what they could never sabotage. He knows your need better than you can articulate it. And He will meet that need in a way that exceeds your expectation. Not just to fill you, but to overflow you. You will go from not enough to more than enough, from confusion to clarity, from surviving to thriving. Because when God moves, He moves in fullness. Don't worry about how long it's been. Don't count the days, the months, or the years. When the season shifts, it doesn't ask permission. It simply arrives. And God is not bringing you into a new moment. He is bringing you into a new dimension. A realm where your former trials become testimonies. A realm where the things that once terrified you now testify of your transformation. You are not who you were in the wilderness. You are not the same person who entered the fire. You've been purified, strengthened, molded, and now possessed. People will see the difference, not because you say it, but because it will be undeniable. The hand of God will be upon you, and His light will go before you. He will open doors that no man can shut. He will silence voices that tried to cancel you. He will make the impossible bow to the will of heaven. So lift your head, strengthen your stance. You are not stepping into just another day. You are stepping into destiny. You are walking into something sacred, something ordained, something powerful. The transfer is not coming, it is here. It is in motion, it is unfolding. The heavens have released it, and nothing will stop it. Not fear, not failure, not even your own doubts. God's hand is sovereign, and when He releases something, it will land exactly where He sends it. You don't need to strive, just stay surrendered. You don't need to figure it all out, just stay faithful. You don't need all the answers, just walk with God. For He alone is your source, your sustainer, your protector, and your reward. And what He is about to place in your life will not only bless you, it will glorify Him. There is a stirring taking place in the unseen, and though you cannot touch it with your hands or measure it with your eyes, something has shifted. God is moving beneath the surface. You may not feel the earthquake, but the ground is cracking. You may not hear the trumpet, but heaven has sounded the call. There is a divine order being carried out on your behalf. When God decides to shift a life, He does not need your resources, your resume, or your reputation. He only needs your readiness. And I ask you today, are you ready for the weight of what God is about to place in your life? Some of you have been praying for a breakthrough, but God is sending something greater than what you asked for. Your request was limited by your understanding, but His answer is flowing from His eternal wisdom. You asked for help, God is sending wholeness. You asked for provision, God is sending abundance. You asked for peace, God is releasing power. When God sends something from His throne, it never arrives empty. It carries a holy assignment. And what is coming to you will not only restore what was lost, it will establish what never was. Do not confuse silence with absence. God's silence is often His signature. He does not shout to announce what He is preparing. He speaks in stillness. He moves in mystery. And when He is about to deliver something sacred, He hides it in seasons of struggle. That's why you've been feeling hidden. Not because you are forgotten, but because God is forming something in secret. And everything birthed in secret is protected by God until it is strong enough to stand in the open. You are not being punished, you are being preserved. The pain you endured was not in vain. Every season of pressing was producing a deeper anointing. Every time you were betrayed, you gained spiritual discernment. Every time you were rejected, you were redirected. Every time you were overlooked, you were being positioned. There is no detail in your journey that was wasted. God has used it all, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the long nights, the isolation. Every trial was a tool, every obstacle was a stepping stone, and every delay was a wall of protection, shielding you from doors not meant for your destiny. Now God is speaking in this moment with authority. It is time. And when God says it's time, heaven moves, angels go forth, and the impossible is made possible. There is no resistance strong enough to stand against what God has decreed. No darkness deep enough to swallow what God has lit with His light. No opposition fierce enough to stop what God has already released. When He opens His hand, nothing can withhold the blessing. When He sets His gaze on your life, everything begins to align. But hear me, this divine transfer is not about chasing things. It's about becoming the vessel that can hold what is holy. It is about transformation, not just transaction. God does not pour into people who are distracted by pride or poisoned by comparison. He pours into those who are empty before Him, hungry for truth and ready to steward glory with integrity. You cannot walk in what's next until you let go of what was. Let go of resentment. Let go of regret. Let go of how you thought it was supposed to go. What God is about to do requires new wineskins, a new way of thinking, a new level of obedience, a renewed mind, and a purified heart. And be clear, the transfer may not always come through applause or open doors. Sometimes it comes through pressure. Sometimes God transfers wisdom through trials. Sometimes He gives you strength by allowing struggle. Sometimes He increases your authority by allowing adversity. This is why you cannot measure God's movement by comfort. Just because you're uncomfortable doesn't mean you're not aligned. Sometimes pain is the evidence that purpose is being activated. Sometimes the storm is proof that the seed is growing. God's system of reward does not operate by the world's standards. Man honors performance. God honors perseverance. Man sees results. God sees the heart. And the one who keeps believing in the drought, the one who keeps walking with no sign, the one who chooses trust over bitterness, that is the one who will see the hand of God move in ways unimaginable. You may feel unseen by people, but you have been seen by God. You may feel unappreciated in your environment, but heaven has tracked every step, every tear, every sacrifice. And God is not unjust. What has been sown in faith will be returned in favor. What was done in secret will be rewarded openly. That is the word of God, and it cannot return void. So don't let your current position blind you to your coming elevation. Don't let the silence of today make you forget the sound of His promise. God does not forget what He speaks. What He started, He will finish. What He promised, He will perform. What He declared, He will deliver. His word is not bound by circumstance or confined by time. His word is eternal and it does not falter. If God said He would do it, He will do it. Even if every fact and feeling screams otherwise, you don't walk by sight. You walk by certainty in the one who never lies. And let this sink deep into your bones. What is being transferred into your life is not just for your pleasure, it is for God's purpose. You are being blessed to build, favored to fight for others, strengthened to serve. The transfer is coming, not to isolate you in comfort, but to mobilize you for impact. God is raising up those who will use what they receive to glorify Him, not to exalt self. Your influence will expand, but your surrender must deepen. Your doors will open, but your humility must increase. The blessing comes with a responsibility to represent God in every season, publicly and privately. This is why you cannot afford to entertain distractions. The enemy knows he cannot stop the transfer, so he will attempt to distract the vessel. He will send voices that sow doubt. He will stir confusion through people close to you. He will use weariness to whisper compromise. But you must stay anchored in the truth. You must guard your gates. What you hear, what you see, what you believe. Protect the promise. Protect the atmosphere. Protect your peace. For you are carrying something sacred, and it must not be tainted by the noise of the world. You have entered a season where you must walk with intentionality. No more casual conversations, no more passive prayers, no more allowing circumstances to dictate your identity. You are a chosen vessel for a divine purpose, and the weight of what is coming demands discipline, focus, and unwavering faith. It is time to stop surviving and start advancing. Time to speak as one who knows who God is, not just in theory, but in personal testimony. There is power in the spoken word when it aligns with God's truth. So begin to declare even now, my time has come, not because I earned it, but because God appointed it, not because I am worthy, but because God is faithful. Let your words become agreement with heaven. Speak not what you feel, but what God has spoken. Speak not what you fear, but what God has promised, for your mouth is the instrument that pulls the spiritual into the physical. Use it wisely. Now is not the time to shrink back in false humility. Now is the time to step forward with holy confidence. You are not walking in your name. You are walking in the strength of the one who formed you. You are not building your kingdom. You are carrying the evidence of God's kingdom on earth. And everything He sends into your life will serve a divine purpose beyond anything you can see now. So walk boldly, stand firm, and prepare your soul, because the transfer is already in motion. Heaven has already released it, and soon the world will see it. Now is the time to rise, not with noise, not with haste, but with holy resolve. This is your moment to step away from the shadows of doubt, to silence the voices that told you you're not enough, and to walk with boldness toward the purpose for which God created you. Let the weight of every delay fall off your shoulders, because it was never wasted time, it was divine preparation. Let the burden of proving yourself be lifted, because God has already chosen you. What matters now is not where you have been, but where your soul is anchored. Is your trust buried in the opinions of people, or is it rooted in the unshakable truth that God sees you, knows you, and has called you? Look around you. Everything in this world is shifting, shaking, and changing. But God remains constant, unmoved, sovereign, present. And in that stillness, He is calling you, not to be louder, but to be deeper. Not to impress, but to obey. Not to fit in, but to stand out in faith. The transfer that is coming into your life is not just a gift, it is a sacred trust. And what will you do with it? Will you carry it with humility or squander it in pride? Will you bear it in fear or multiply it through faith? God is searching for the faithful, for the broken who remain true, for the weary who refuse to curse His name, for the humble who did not bend under pressure, for the surrendered who placed everything at His feet. He is calling you closer, not into comfort, but into covenant. Not into performance, but into presence. You were not made to just exist. You were formed by His hand to carry His glory, light into darkness, strength into weakness, and truth into confusion. This is not just about your miracle, it's about your mission. Not just about your blessing, it's about your becoming. So search your heart right now, strip away the noise, the distractions, the excuses. In the quietness of your soul, ask yourself, have I truly surrendered? Am I walking with God, or am I waiting for convenience to obey? Let today be the day you return fully to God, not with conditions, not with hesitation, but with everything. Lay down your pride, your plan, your timeline. Lift up your hands, not for show, but in total surrender. Because it is in that sacred surrender that heaven responds with power. You don't need more signs, you need more stillness. You don't need more answers, you need more alignment. And that alignment starts not in public, but in the hidden places where only God sees. Let Him see your truth. Let Him purify your motives. Let Him break what must be broken and rebuild what has been wounded. For only God can take a surrendered life, a soul bowed low in humility, and raise it into a vessel of divine greatness. Only God can look at the ashes, at the shattered, forgotten places of your story, and say, now I will build something eternal here. So walk forward now, not in your own strength, but in faith that holds firm when sight fades. Not by fleeting feelings, but by obedience born in trust. And as you walk, know this without a doubt, God goes before you, God covers you, God sustains you. The divine transfer is not just arriving to you, it is flowing through you. You were made for this, born for this, refined for this, anointed for this. And no force of man, no whisper of the enemy, no shadow of doubt can cancel what God has spoken over your life. So let your heart catch fire with holy reverence. Let your soul awaken with the weight of purpose. Let your spirit rise in bold, quiet confidence, knowing that God is enough, God is able, and God is right here. This is your moment, not to boast in self, but to believe in the one who called you. Not to retreat in fear, but to rise in faith. The time is now. God is calling. And the only question that remains is, will you answer? My beloved, lean in closer than before, because what you're reading in this very moment isn't an accident. This is holy ground. This is a divine encounter between your weary soul and the unshakable voice of truth. Let me speak it plainly, so that every fear, every doubt, every whisper of despair begins to tremble. God is about to surprise you with a long-awaited yes. You didn't arrive here by chance. You were summoned, you were called, because the very thing you've wept over, the very thing you've carried in silence, the very thing that felt impossible, God is about to breathe life into it. Some of you have been barely holding on, surviving off of whispered prayers, clinging to fragile hope that somehow refuses to die. You've been walking through the valley wondering if no was the final word, wondering if God forgot. But hear me now. God has not forgotten. He has been watching, He has been working, and He is about to move in a way so undeniable it will drop you to your knees, not in sorrow, but in awe. There is a divine rhythm to waiting. God does not delay because He is careless. He delays because He is constructing something eternal. While you waited, He was weaving. While you cried, He was cultivating. You mistook His silence for rejection, but it was soil, and beneath it the answer has been growing. Now the ground is trembling, the heavens are shifting. The yes you almost gave up on is closer than your next breath. There comes a moment in every believer's life when they must believe with nothing but faith, when they must trust without evidence, praise without proof, stand without signs. This is your moment. The time to doubt is over. The time to waver is gone. It's time to believe, to expect, to receive. Because your yes is on the way, and this time nothing can stop it. Stand up in your spirit. Square your shoulders in faith, because God is not a man that He should lie, and He does not tease the faithful. He rewards them. Some of you prayed a prayer years ago, a quiet prayer hidden in the corners of your room. Maybe no one heard it but God. You buried it deep, thinking maybe it was too bold, maybe it was too late. But God never forgot. God recorded every word. And while the world told you to lower your expectations, God kept working in silence. That yes was delayed, not denied, so that when it arrives, it will carry the full weight of heaven behind it. I want to speak to the soul that's tired, the soul that's been waiting so long that you stopped looking for the answer, the one who smiles on the outside but wonders if hope is just a cruel game. Let me shake you awake with this truth. God is not finished with you. In fact, God is just getting started. And what's coming is not just an answer, it's a miracle, a divine reversal, a breakthrough so sudden it will make the years of waiting feel like a blink. You see, God doesn't operate on man's schedule. He doesn't work within the limits of your calendar. When God says yes, it doesn't take years, it takes a moment, one holy second, one divine breath, and the doors that were shut swing wide. The chains that held you break loose. The opportunities you thought were lost come running toward you. That is the kind of yes God is preparing. But listen, this yes isn't ordinary. It's not the kind of yes that just adds convenience to your life. It's the kind of yes that transforms you. The kind that redeems wasted years. The kind that heals broken places. The kind that vindicates your name and proves your faith was not in vain. God is about to do something that will silence the voices that mocked you, doubted you, abandoned you. God is about to make it clear that He was with you all along. And don't you dare believe the lie that says it's too late. Don't you accept the idea that your best days are behind you. God does not speak in past tense when it comes to your destiny. The God who formed you did not place dreams in your heart to torment you. He placed them there to fulfill them. And if He made you wait, it's only because the blessing was too big to be delivered early. There's power in divine timing. And right now the timing is shifting. The tide is turning. You may not feel it yet, but something is breaking in the spirit. Tension you feel, that restlessness. It's not fear. It's the nearness of your breakthrough. Your spirit senses what your eyes have not yet seen, and that's why you must not quit now. You're too close. Do you understand that some of the greatest moves of God happen right after the darkest night? Some of the most powerful yeses come after a season of silence. You thought God said nothing, but God was gathering angels. God was aligning resources. God was holding things back, not to punish you, but to bless you in full measure, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. I want to tell you something radical, something that will disrupt your doubt and command your faith. That yes, you've been waiting for. It's already been declared in heaven. It's already been spoken. You're not praying to convince God. You're praying to align with what He's already written. The yes is done. The yes is sealed. So now the question is, can you receive it? Can you praise before it arrives? Can you trust even when the evidence is invisible? Because faith is not about seeing. It's about believing. And those who dare to believe when nothing makes sense are the ones who see the greatest miracles. God honors faith that endures the storm. You've been tested, you've been refined, you've lost people, you've lost strength, you've cried in secret. But what you didn't lose was your hope. And God is about to reward that hope with a yes that will eclipse every no you ever heard. This yes is going to restore your confidence, elevate your name, and break every generational curse that tried to hold you down. There are things that should have taken you out, things you barely survived, and the fact that you're still standing is proof that God isn't finished. If God allowed you to survive it, it's because something greater is coming on the other side. God is not a God of almost. God is a finisher. And what He began in you, He will complete with power, with glory, and with unstoppable favor. Some people walked away because they didn't see the promise in you. They didn't believe the vision God gave you. Let them go. Because when God says yes, He doesn't need a committee. He doesn't need agreement. He doesn't need anyone else's permission. When God says yes, even the gates of hell can't stop it. I know you've been faithful. I know you stayed the course when it would have been easier to give up. I know you've sacrificed, obeyed, trusted. And now, God is about to answer, not in part, not in fragments, but in full. A yes that covers every corner of your life. A yes that lifts you higher than you've ever been. A yes that leaves no doubt who was behind it. This is your season, not because of anything you've earned, but because of who God is. God is faithful to fulfill every word spoken, and if He said it, He will do it. If He promised it, He will perform it. The yes is not a fantasy. It is your future. It is the next chapter, and it is closer than you think. So rise up, shake off the dust of discouragement, stop rehearsing the pain and start rehearsing the promise. Stop counting the delays and start declaring the delivery. God is about to surprise you, and when He does, it will not be small, it will not be subtle, it will be sudden, sweeping, undeniable. Even those who doubted you will have no choice but to say, this had to be God. And when that yes arrives, remember, it was never about you. It was about showing the world what happens when someone refuses to let go of hope. It was about glorifying the name of the one who makes a way where there is no way, It was about setting a testimony in motion that others could look to and say, if God did it for them, He can do it for me. So I speak this into your life. Prepare yourself, ready your heart, widen your expectation. Because God is about to blow your mind with a yes you didn't see coming. Not because you're perfect, but because you're chosen. Not because you're qualified, but because you're loved. That yes is on the way, not later, not someday, but now. It's in motion, it's in transit, and nothing can stop it, not the enemy, not the delay, not even your doubt. Hold your head high, rejoice in advance, praise like it's already done. Because when God surprises you with this long-awaited yes, you'll understand why the wait was so long. You'll see that what's coming was worth every tear, every prayer, every sleepless night. You'll thank God not just for the yes, but for the timing, because it will arrive exactly when your soul is ready to carry the weight of the blessing. Let your spirit be stirred, because the time for hesitation is over. The time for doubting what God can do is behind you. What lies before you is a divine release that has been building like a storm of glory behind a veil. You may not see it yet with your physical eyes, but in the unseen realm, the winds of transformation are roaring. And when God moves, it is not in whispers, it is in wonders. God is not in the business of half blessing. When He actually completes, when He speaks, the earth responds. And what He's about to do in your life will leave no question of His power. Some of you have been fighting battles in silence, spiritual battles that no one around you even knows about. You've walked through seasons where you questioned everything. You wrestled with questions like, did God hear me? Was I wrong to believe? Should I have given up long ago? But let me speak directly to that deep place within you, the part of you that still dares to believe even when everything says no. Hold on to that spark, because God is about to breathe on it and turn it into a wildfire of fulfillment. Understand this: delay does not mean denial. God often withholds what you want in the moment to prepare you for what you truly need. Sometimes the wait is not punishment, it's protection, because God knows that a blessing given too early can crush rather than elevate. And so He watches, He waits, He refines until the vessel is strong enough to hold the oil. And now you are entering that moment. The hour is approaching where God is going to release what has been reserved, blessings held in trust for the right time. This isn't just about answered prayer. This is about destiny. This is about divine orchestration. You see, God is not just answering you, God is positioning you. He is setting you in a place where the yes will not only benefit you, but will bless everyone connected to you. That's how strategic God is. He doesn't move in isolation, He moves in revelation. And when He speaks a yes over your life, it echoes across generations. Some of you thought you were forgotten, you thought you'd missed your window, but you don't understand. The window is not closed, it's being opened at the highest point of favor. You didn't miss it. God was saving it. Saving it for a moment where the impact would be greater, where the glory would be undeniable, where even your enemies would be forced to say, that had to be from God. You see, when God says yes, even those who rejected you will have to witness your rise. You need to understand the weight of this yes. It's not an ordinary yes. This is a mountain-moving, barrier-breaking, soul-healing yes. The kind that restores years lost to doubt, years lost to fear, years stolen by betrayal, delay, and spiritual attack. Some of you have been robbed in silence, but God is a restorer. And when God restores, He doesn't give you back what was taken, He gives you more than you ever thought possible. God has seen the tears you cried when no one else was looking. He's heard the prayers you didn't even know how to say out loud. He saw you when you had nothing left to give but faith. And that faith, though small in your eyes, roared like thunder in heaven, because God is not moved by appearance. He is moved by sincerity, and your sincere cry has reached the throne. Right now, there are doors swinging open in places you don't even know exist yet. Opportunities are being fashioned with your name written on them. People are being stirred to favor you, to bless you, to help you, not because of who you are, but because God is whispering your name in rooms you've never entered. That's the power of divine timing. That's the majesty of God's yes. It comes wrapped in favor, dripping in purpose, and shining with glory. And let me warn you, when God says yes, some people will not understand. They'll wonder why you're the one chosen. They'll question how it happened. But don't waste your breath explaining. Don't dilute your faith to make others comfortable. When God elevates, it's not a negotiation, it's a declaration. And those who doubted you will be left watching as God displays His power in your life like a banner. This yes will bring a shift, not just in your circumstances, but in your identity. You will no longer see yourself as a struggler, but as a vessel of promise. No longer a wanderer, but one who walks in divine purpose. This yes is going to reintroduce you to yourself. You've forgotten how powerful you are when God is behind you. But now, you will walk again in boldness with your head lifted, because when God opens a door, no force in this world or the next can close it. God is moving in silence now, but soon He will move in spectacle. What was hidden will be revealed, what was whispered will be shouted. The quiet yes forming in the heavens is about to thunder in your life, and when it does, the chains will fall off, not only your life, but the lives of those who are watching you. Because you are not just being blessed for your sake, you are being positioned to be a signpost of God's faithfulness. So let me say this with fire in my spirit. Don't shrink now, don't retreat, don't tone it down. This is your time to expect the impossible, to stand in the gap and declare, I am ready for God's yes. Speak it before you see it, praise before it manifests, because faith is the currency of movement. And when you walk by faith, you activate what has been waiting to be released. You must remember, God works beyond the natural. While others are watching bank accounts and connections and qualifications, God is looking for faith. Faith that stands even when the winds howl. Faith that speaks even when the world is silent. Faith that says, I trust God when everything looks broken. That kind of faith moves mountains. That kind of faith invites the divine yes. And yes, there may be obstacles, there may be resistance, but the presence of resistance is not the absence of God. In fact, it's often the confirmation that the breakthrough is near. The greater the battle, the greater the blessing. When God is about to do something big, the enemy panics. But let that panic be your proof, because no one fights for something that has no value. Your yes is valuable, your destiny is powerful, and the enemy knows it. But God's will is greater than any attack. His word cannot be reversed, and His yes cannot be overruled. You must prepare, not just your hands, but your heart. Because when God blesses, He also stretches. He calls you to a higher level of surrender, a deeper level of faith, a wider scope of vision. Don't just prepare for the answer, prepare for the responsibility. The yes you're about to receive will require you to walk differently, think differently, speak differently, not from pride, but from power, from the awareness that you are walking in what was once only a dream. Let me speak this into your spirit. God's yes is never random. It is always aligned with purpose, always crafted with precision, always delivered with power. You were born for this. Your pain prepared you for this. Your struggle trained you for this. Now it's your season to step into the very thing that once seemed out of reach, and it will come in a way that surprises even you. Because God doesn't just fulfill, He exceeds. He gives beyond what you ask for. He answers in ways that make your plans look small. That's the wonder of divine favor. It overflows. It overwhelms. It overtakes. And when it comes, you'll look back on every closed door, every heartbreak, every detour, and say, "Now I understand." So I say again with unwavering conviction, get ready. The shift is coming. The answer is coming. The divine yes is coming. Not next year, not someday, now. God is about to surprise you in the very place where you were broken. He is about to raise you in the very area where you were rejected. He is about to say yes in a voice so loud, it will drown out every no that ever wounded you. Stay faithful, stay watchful, stay in position. Because what God is about to do will not just change your season, it will change your life. Let your heart be still for a moment, and let this truth settle deep into your bones. God has not overlooked you. The quiet seasons, the lonely places, the endless waiting, none of it was wasted. God is a master architect, and He builds destiny with divine precision. When He plans to move in your life, He does not rush. He does not guess. He executes His will with perfect power and flawless timing. What you thought was a detour was actually preparation. What felt like delay was divine design, and what seemed like silence was the deep echo of God saying, "Not yet, but soon." That soon is turning into now. Listen to me with every fiber of your soul. God is about to unlock doors that no human hand could force open. You've tried your strength, you've exhausted your logic, you've cried out with questions, and still the heavens felt silent. But God was not ignoring you. He was preserving you. He was developing the strength inside you to carry the weight of what's coming. Because this yes, this long-awaited, heaven-approved yes is not ordinary. It is life-altering. It will realign everything around you. It will interrupt the patterns of your pain and replace them with patterns of purpose. This is not a season to be timid. This is not a time to shrink back or tiptoe around faith. This is the hour to rise. Speak boldly, walk upright, declare what you believe even before it shows up. God responds to bold faith, not because He needs convincing, but because He honors those who trust Him blindly. You see, anyone can praise when the answer's visible, but those who dare to praise in the shadows, those who lift their voices in the midnight hour, those are the ones God crowns with glory. God is about to reward the unseen sacrifices, the times you gave without recognition, the moments you served even when you were empty, the nights you wrestled with doubt but chose to believe anyway. That kind of faith speaks louder in the spiritual realm than any sermon. It is that faith which now summons the favor of God over your life. And when God decides to bless you, there is no man, no system, no weapon that can stop it. This yes is going to heal what generations before you carried. You've been breaking cycles without even knowing it. You've been chosen to shift the bloodline, not by might, not by power, but because God saw your heart and trusted you with the assignment. That's why the warfare was so intense. That's why the pressure felt unbearable. Because God placed a mantle on you, and that mantle comes with weight. But here's the divine promise. You will not carry that weight forever. God is lifting the burden and replacing it with fulfillment. The tears of the past are about to turn into testimonies. Some of you have been praying for others more than yourselves. You've stood in the gap for loved ones, for friends, for even your enemies. You've cried out not just for blessing, but for breakthrough, and God took notice. God saw your selfless prayers, and now He is responding, not just to your words, but to your heart. There is a reward for those who intercede. There is a blessing reserved for those who carry others in their spirit. And that blessing is about to arrive at your doorstep. Oh, let me tell you something holy. What God is about to release will fit you perfectly. No striving, no forcing, no manipulation. You won't have to beg or plead or compromise. When the yes is from God, it settles in your life like it was always meant to be there. It will bring peace, not confusion, confirmation, not anxiety, clarity, not chaos. That is how you'll know it's from God. It will align with your soul, not just your surrounding. And listen closely. Whoa! When God blesses you, do not apologize for it. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Do not explain away what God has ordained. The blessing coming to your life is a manifestation of God's goodness, not your worthiness. You don't have to qualify for it. You just have to receive it with humility and boldness. Because the blessing is not about you, it is about the power of God on display through you. You may feel like you're still surrounded by limitation, still living in the same place, around the same problems, dealing with the same people. But I declare to you, your environment is about to bow to your elevation. God is not waiting for your conditions to change before He moves. He's about to change your conditions because He's moving. In one moment, God can lift you. In one divine instant, everything can shift. Do not measure what's coming by what you see now. What's ahead of you is bigger than what's around you. Your name is being spoken in rooms you haven't entered. Your character is being discussed in circles you haven't seen. God is orchestrating a yes that will leave you speechless. Not a small yes, not a half-hearted approval, but a complete, resounding, heaven-backed yes that will redefine your future. And not only will it affect you, it will create ripple effects in every life around you. This yes will come with responsibility. God doesn't bless just to satisfy. He blesses to deploy. You will be entrusted with influence, with purpose, with a platform to reflect the light of the one who lifted you. So don't just prepare for the blessing, prepare to be a blessing. Ask yourself, who can I lift when I rise? Who can I serve when I'm healed? Because the blessing is not the end. It is the beginning of your calling, walking in full power. You didn't go through all that pain for a shallow reward. You didn't suffer through betrayal, rejection, and delay just for temporary relief. No, God's reward is always greater than the suffering. God's yes carries restoration, recompense, and revelation. It reveals the purpose behind the pain. It brings meaning to the madness. And it causes even the darkest seasons of your life to shine with divine intention. So I call on you now, do not look back. The season that broke you does not define you. The people who walked away were not meant to carry the next chapter. Let them go, bless them, release them, and turn your face forward. Because the yes you've been waiting for is not behind you, it's ahead. God is calling you out of mourning and into mission, out of survival and into significance, out of waiting and into walking. And hear me clearly, the moment this yes arrives, it will redeem the time. It will feel like the years you lost suddenly collapse into one divine moment of acceleration. That's what God can do. He does not return blessings in the way you gave them. He multiplies them. He exceeds what was lost. He turns your nothing into more than enough. That is the kind of yes that's coming. You will be shocked by the doors that open. You will be amazed by the peace that follows. You will stand in awe, not of your own strength, but of how faithful God has been, even in your weakest hours. And when you look back, you will not see pain. You will see purpose. You will see the pattern of God's hand, gently guiding you through the fire into fulfillment. So let every doubt be silenced. Let every fear be cast down. Let every voice of discouragement fade into the background. God has the final word, and His word is life, hope, power, and victory. And right now, that word is hovering over your life. It is drawing near. It is ready to fall like rain upon dry ground. And when it falls, nothing will ever be the same again. Stand strong, beloved. The yes is coming. The door is opening. The tide is turning. And God, only God, is the one doing it. Let your soul receive this with trembling awe. When God speaks a yes over your life, the natural must submit to the supernatural. The laws of logic, the voices of reason, the predictions of men, none of them can override the decree of the Most High. You may have been told it was too late. They may have said the door was permanently closed. But the moment God's yes descends, the irreversible becomes reversed, the impossible becomes inevitable, and what was lost becomes restored in greater measure. When God moves, He doesn't ask for permission. He establishes authority. You see, God is not pacing the floor of heaven, uncertain about your future. God is not waiting on a vote from society, family, or circumstance. He alone is sovereign. His word is law. His will is supreme. And when He ordains a season of favor, there is not a storm, not a setback, not a demon in hell that can block it. The time is near when your name will no longer be associated with waiting, but with fulfillment. Not because anything changed around you, but because God shifted the entire atmosphere in your favor. Some of you are standing at the threshold. You can feel the pressure rising, and with it, a holy urgency. That pressure is not a sign of destruction. It is the contraction before the birth. God is about to birth something through you that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. But it comes with spiritual intensity. It comes with resistance. And that resistance is confirmation that the yes is real, that the blessing is weighty, that what God is doing through you is not casual, it is generational. God is not just answering a request, He is establishing a testimony. This yes will not only satisfy your longing, it will serve as evidence to others that God is still the one who lifts the humble, the one who remembers the silent, the one who responds not to status, but to sincerity. You will become living proof that surrender to God is not wasted, that tears offered in prayer are not forgotten, and that divine timing always trumps human expectation. And let me tell you something that may shake you. The silence was not punishment. The years when God seemed distant were not years of neglect. They were years of calibration. God was shaping your appetite so that you would not settle for imitation. He was training your eyes to recognize authenticity. He was preserving the best for last so that when the yes comes, you will value it not just for what it is, but for who sent it. God never teases the faithful. He tests them. And when they endure, He rewards them in ways that overwhelm the senses. If you knew what God had stored up for you, you would not complain another day. You would rise up with holy expectation, walking through every valley with a shout of confidence. My yes is coming from God, and nothing can stop it. You must prepare not only for elevation, but for separation. When God says yes, some things must fall away. Not everything can go with you into the next season. There are relationships, habits, thoughts, and patterns that were tied to the old version of you. But the yes you are stepping into requires purification. Cannot walk into divine promise still wearing the garments of the wilderness. God will strip you, cleanse you, and robe you anew, not to humiliate you, but to honor you as one who has endured the fire. God doesn't just release favor, He commands it. And when He commands favor to locate you, it will find you in obscurity. It will find you in lack. It will find you in the hidden places. Because when God chooses you, no spotlight is necessary. God does not need a crowd to validate His decision. He only needs a vessel willing to believe Him, even when the promise seems too good to be true. And yes, there will be those who won't understand. Some will question your rise. Others will misinterpret your blessing. But God did not consult them when He anointed you. And He will not consult them when He elevates you. This yes is between you and the one who molded your spirit in the quiet place. Let their misunderstanding be the background to God's masterpiece. Hear this truth with unwavering certainty. Every season of lack has an expiration date. Every delay has a divine reason. And now you are stepping into the portion that was held back, not to punish you, but to perfect you. You are walking into what was reserved. Others may have run ahead, others may have reached it first, but what belongs to you is still yours, untouched, unspoiled, and exactly on time. Some of you have felt forgotten, overlooked, dismissed, but hear this: when God is about to do something great through you, He hides you first. He conceals you, protects you, and develops you away from the noise. You were not overlooked, you were preserved. Because what God is building in you cannot be rushed, and when it is time, He will reveal you, not in weakness, but in fullness. The yes you are about to receive will be a key that opens more than one door, a yes that unlocks new relationships, new levels of wisdom, new resources. And with every door, you will find greater responsibility, but you will also find deeper peace. Because when you walk in what God has ordained, there is no striving, only surrender. No competition, only purpose. No fear, only clarity. God is not just sending a blessing, He is launching a movement. Your life is about to become a platform of divine power. Others will look at your story and find hope. They will say, if God did it for them, surely God can do it for me. And that is how God receives glory, not through empty talk, but through undeniable transformation. So now, beloved, let your spirit rise. Stand on the promise like a warrior on sacred ground. Declare with boldness, God's yes is for me. It is coming. It is powerful. It is unstoppable. And let nothing shake you, not delay, not fear, not the voices of doubt. Let your faith roar louder than your questions. Because what's coming is holy, what's coming is divine, what's coming is from God, and it's already on the way. Let your heart receive this with reverence. When God decides to release something into your life, it does not arrive through coincidence. It arrives through covenant. This yes that is coming is not born from man's favor, nor is it the product of luck or influence. It is coming because God has already spoken it in the secret chambers of His divine will. The earth is merely catching up with what heaven already decreed. And though it tried, though it lingered, though it seemed as if the silence would swallow you whole, now is the appointed time, now is the hour of manifestation. The heavens are opening with purpose, and the floodgates of favor are no longer being held back. And listen to this truth with a trembling soul. When God remembers you, the entire rhythm of your life shifts. Time accelerates, delays unravel, doors swing open that were bolted shut for years. People who ignored you are suddenly stirred to bless you, not because of anything they've done, but because God moved their hearts. That is the kind of yes that's about to break into your life. It's not going to be one you can explain. It's going to be one you can only testify about, saying, surely God has done this. Surely it was His hand, His mercy, His power. There are seasons when God hides your harvest. He lets the soil look barren so that you will not worship the fruit, but remember the one who sent the rain. God has kept the answer hidden, not to torment you, but to protect the purity of your praise. For if He had answered too soon, you might have attributed the breakthrough to your own wisdom or effort. But now, when it comes, it will be unmistakable. The signature of God will be all over it, flawless, undeniable, and overwhelming. Let me speak directly to the one who has felt forgotten by time. You've watched others move forward. You've seen doors open for people who didn't labor like you did. And deep down, you wondered if maybe God passed you over. But hear this, God does not forget what He designs. He is not finished with you. You are not too late. You are not too old. You are not too broken. In fact, you are perfectly positioned for a divine reversal. When God says yes, it doesn't just bring change, it brings recompense. Recompense for the years of obedience that seemed invisible. Recompense for the losses you endured silently. Recompense for the prayers you whispered with cracked voices and trembling hands. When God restores, He doesn't merely return what was lost. He adds interest. He multiplies the return. He floods your soul with a peace that silences every fear and a joy that no man can take away. And understand this, not every no was a rejection. Some no's were divine protection. You begged for things that would have broken you. You desired people who would have drained your calling. And because God loves you more than you understand, He closed those doors. Not to punish, but to preserve. God's no today often protects His yes for tomorrow. What didn't work was never meant to, and what is coming now has been refined by fire, purified by time, and appointed for your exact season. Some of you are about to experience a moment where everything changes. In 1 hour, 1 call, 1 encounter. Your life will shift, and it won't be by force, it will be by favor. Because when God opens a door, you don't need to kick it. It opens wide of its own accord. God is orchestrating a breakthrough so specifically tailored to your soul, it will undo every lie the enemy whispered to you in the dark. It will silence every accusation. It will put peace where there was panic. It will bring light to the very corner where fear used to live. This is not a generic blessing. This is not a recycled miracle. This is a tailor-made yes crafted in the throne room of heaven with your name written across it. That is why it took time. That is why the battle was fierce. Because what God is sending was never common. It's a blessing with weight. A blessing that requires spiritual maturity. A blessing that demands surrender. So let God finish what He started. Let Him complete the refining process. Because the yes is not coming to pacify your impatience. It's coming to establish your purpose. And now I say this with holy urgency. Build the altar before the fire falls. Praise before the breakthrough. Worship before the window opens. Declare it while you're still in the valley. That kind of faith draws the yes down from heaven. That kind of boldness pleases God beyond measure. Because God is not waiting for your comfort. He is responding to your conviction. Speak life, speak promise, speak trust. Let your words align with the reality of God's power, not the limitation of your surroundings. The blessing coming will not be quiet. It will announce itself. It will bring closure where there were open wounds. It will make sense of the sorrow. It will prove that God was never absent, only working in ways too deep to perceive. And when it comes, you will not need to prove anything to anyone. Your fruit will speak for itself. Your peace will be louder than any applause. Your transformation will silence every critic. So now, rise up, shake off the residue of doubt, break agreement with despair, speak with authority, walk with expectancy. Because this is not a maybe, it is a yes. A yes from God carries the power of eternity. It is not held back by economic conditions, by people's opinions, or by earthly systems. When God says yes, it manifests in glory. It brings a shift so complete you will hardly recognize the version of yourself that once wondered if it would ever happen. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not disqualified. In fact, you have been divinely positioned for this moment. The same God who formed galaxies, who stilled the oceans, who paints the skies with the rising sun, that same God is about to surprise you. And when He does, it will be a testimony for generations. They will look at your life and say, surely this is what happens when someone trusts God beyond the pain, beyond the delay, beyond the silence. So now I ask you, will you trust God even now? Will you trust God not only in the victory, but in the waiting? Will you believe, even when your hands are empty, that God is still writing your story with precision and purpose? This is the moment where your faith is no longer theory. It becomes the fire that purifies, the anchor that holds, the compass that guides you through storms. This is where you choose not to look back, not to question, not to fold under the pressure, but to stand with unwavering conviction that God is faithful to finish what He started. Let your soul rise above the noise. Let every doubt be burned in the flame of truth. Let every fear be silenced under the weight of divine assurance. God is not a distant force. God is near. God is present. God has heard every cry, caught every tear, and remembered every quiet act of obedience. What you thought was being ignored was being collected, measured, and multiplied for an appointed time. And now, you stand on the edge of that time. Do not let weariness rob you of the reward. Do not let delay harden your heart. This is your call to awaken, to stir the embers of faith once more, and to walk forward as one who is certain that the answer is not maybe, it is yes. But this yes is not just for comfort, it is for transformation. It is a divine invitation to step into deeper trust, greater discipline, and holy alignment. Do not chase the blessing and forget the blesser. Do not receive the yes and lose the reverence. Let what is coming draw you closer to God, not further. Let it humble you, purify you, challenge you to walk with more integrity, more compassion, more focus. Because when God says yes, He's not just granting your request, He's issuing an invitation. Now walk with me more deeply. Let this be the season where your soul awakens with clarity, where your spirit refuses to settle for compromise, and where your heart bows fully, freely, not just in desperation, but in holy awe. So I leave you with this charge. Guard your faith, protect your peace, sharpen your expectation. Be the one who stands when others sit in defeat. Be the one who lifts their hands in praise before the answer knocks. Be the one who carries light into the darkness, not because the path is easy, but because the presence of God is near. Because when God surprises you, it won't just be with provision, it will be with revelation. Not just with outcomes, but with intimacy. Not just with doors opening, but with the voice behind the door saying, "Walk with me." And when it comes, when the blessing meets your hands, when the promise comes alive, may your first words not be, "I earned this," but simply, "Only relationship." Live now like you've already been seen. Speak now like the answer is already unfolding. Walk now with the calm of someone who knows that heaven has already said yes. That yes will not just shift your today, it will echo into eternity. No matter your past, no matter the delay, no matter how long you've waited, God has seen you, God has chosen you, and God now calls you forward. So go in faith, go in full surrender, go in holy reverence. For God is with you, and the yes is already written. My friend, let me ask you something sacred, something soul deep. What are you clinging to so tightly that God can no longer move freely in your life? What have you gripped with such tension, with such fear, that your very hands have become the chains around your own spirit? We live in a world addicted to control over money, control over relationships, control over health, timing, reputation, outcomes, even God's will itself. But today I stand to speak a liberating truth that could ignite your soul. The moment you let go of control is the moment you make room for God to move. We cry out, "God, where are you?" Yet our fists remain clenched around the very things we ask Him to change. We say we want peace, but refuse to release the anxiety. We ask for guidance but ignore the nudge to surrender. We beg for miracles but only on our terms. We want breakthrough without breaking. We want transformation without trust. But hear this clearly, God does not respond to control. He responds to surrender. The most powerful move you can make today is not striving or fixing or figuring it all out. It is this, to open your hands and say, God, I release it to you. Let go of the battle you've tried to fight in your own strength. Let go of the fear that's been whispering lies in the dark. Let go of the burden that's been suffocating your joy. Let go of the illusion that you were ever meant to carry it all. Because the truth is, you were never in control, you were never supposed to be. And that's not defeat, that's deliverance, that's not weakness, that's wisdom, that's not failure, that's faith. The very moment you loosen your grip is the moment God will take hold. And when He does, He will do what only He can, heal, restore, redeem, and lead you into a freedom you couldn't find by holding on, but only by letting go. Some of you are trying to control how people treat you. You're trying to fix broken relationships, to make people love you who were never meant to stay. And every time you try harder, it slips further away. Every time you manipulate outcomes, peace disappears. You can cry, beg, plead, explain. But if God has closed that door, no amount of control will open it again. God does not work through desperation. He works through trust. You're not responsible for how others receive you. You are responsible for how you respond to God. Control is the language of fear, but surrender is the language of faith, and faith is the only language heaven listens to. When you are trying to control everything, you are essentially saying to God, I don't trust you. But when you release it, when you lay it down, you are shouting to the heavens, I believe you even when I don't understand you. I trust you even when I can't trace you. I submit to you even when it hurts. That is the heart that moves God. I know what you're thinking, but what if everything falls apart? Let me tell you, sometimes things have to fall apart so God can put them back together the right way. Sometimes letting go of what you think is best is the only way God can give you what is truly right. You may lose what you wanted, but you will gain what you needed. God never asks you to let go unless He has something greater to replace it with, but He won't force it into your hands. You have to release what you're holding first. Too many are trying to fight battles God never asked them to fight. You're worn out, burnt out, and spiritually dried out. You think you're being responsible, but really, you're carrying weight you were never meant to bear. You've confused worry for wisdom, fear for foresight, and control for protection. But the Spirit of God is calling you right now, let go. Trust the one who holds the stars in place. Trust the one who never sleeps nor slumbers. Trust the one who formed you in your mother's womb and has counted every tear you've cried in secret. The reason some of you are not seeing the movement of God is not because He's not working, but because your grip is too tight. You've locked Him out by locking yourself in. The miracle is not delayed, it's waiting for your surrender. The answer's not far, it's on the other side of your release. You've been asking, why won't God fix this? But maybe the real question is, why won't I let Him? He is not a God who works according to your calendar. He is not bound by your deadlines. He doesn't rush just because you panic. He moves according to divine timing, not emotional urgency. And oh, when God moves, when He finally moves, it is not subtle. It is not weak. It is not partial. When God moves, mountains tremble. When God moves, storms are silenced. When God moves, doors swing wide open that no man can shut. But He does not move at the voice of control. He moves at the sound of surrender. Your breakthrough isn't blocked by the devil. It's often blocked by your pride. Let go, child of God. Let go. Not because you've lost, but because that's the only way to truly win. Don't confuse surrender with failure. Surrender is not giving up, it's giving over. It's saying, God, I don't want to be in charge anymore. I'm not capable of carrying this burden, guiding this ship, or fixing this mess, but you are. That's not weakness, that's worship. That's not quitting, that's spiritual wisdom. That's not defeat, that's the beginning of divine direction. It is in the emptying of self that we become filled with power. God moves in the spaces we surrender. He enters the room we vacate. He heals the wounds we stop hiding. But if you're still trying to make everything perfect in your own power, you'll miss the glory of what God can do with a mess fully placed in His hands. It's not about how strong your grip is, it's about how deep your trust is. You don't need to know how it will all unfold, you just need to know the one who holds it all. I speak to the one who's tired. You've tried everything. You've begged, fought, sacrificed, and still see no change. And now fear creeps in like a shadow, telling you that if you don't keep it all together, everything will collapse. But let me tell you, sometimes collapse is grace in disguise. Sometimes God allows things to fall apart so you'll stop building idols and start building trust. He doesn't want your strategy, He wants your surrender. This world teaches you to seize control, to hustle, to grasp, to plan every detail. But the kingdom of God operates differently. In God's kingdom, the most powerful thing you can do is fall to your knees, not because you're broken, but because you know where your strength truly comes from. God does not need your control, He desires your heart. That is where His movement begins. You cannot be the architect of your own peace. You cannot be the captain of your own destiny. God is the beginning and the end. He writes the story. And the chapters you're trying to rewrite with fear are already written with purpose. Every delay has meaning. Every no is a setup for a greater yes. Every closed door is a redirection, not a rejection. But you'll only see this when you stop striving and start trusting. Faith is not just believing God can, it's surrendering even if He doesn't. It's praising Him even when you don't understand. It's saying, I trust you even in silence. I trust you even in the waiting. I trust you when everything in me wants to fix it myself. And that is when the heavens respond. That is when the atmosphere shifts. That is when God begins to move in ways you couldn't even imagine. Letting go doesn't mean life will instantly make sense. It means you stop needing it to. It means you trade anxiety for assurance, striving for stillness, panic for peace. It means you stop asking, what if, and start saying, even if it doesn't look the way I planned, even if the door remains shut, even if I never understand, I will still trust that God is working. I will still believe that His ways are higher. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. But God cannot bless the version of you that clings to control. He blesses the one who says, here I am. Take it all. He blesses the one who kneels in tears and says, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow. That is the faith that moves mountains. That is the spirit that unleashes miracles. And I ask you, what would your life look like if you truly let go? What burdens would lift? What miracles would rush in? What peace would fill your soul if right now you simply opened your hands and said, God, I release it all? That's not the end of the fight. It's the beginning of your freedom. God is not waiting for you to figure it all out. He's waiting for you to let go. And when you do, when you truly do, you will see Him move like never before. Not because you earned it, not because you controlled the outcome, but because you finally made room for His glory to show up. His movement begins where your control ends. You don't have to carry it all. You don't have to solve it all. You don't have to be the hero of your story. Let go. Let go and watch what God will do. Let go and witness the heavens open. Let go and feel the chains break. Let go and hear the still small voice that's been drowned out by your own plans. Because when you do, something holy happens. Something divine takes place. God steps in. And now I say to you, with the authority of truth and the weight of heaven, if you want to see transformation, if you truly desire divine intervention, then release the reins of your life and hand them fully to God. Stop walking through firestorms trying to control the wind. Stop clenching your heart trying to manipulate outcomes. When will you realize that your strength is not in holding everything together, but in surrendering to the one who holds it? You may think letting go means things will fall apart, but listen carefully. Sometimes things have to fall apart before they can fall into place. Some of you are praying for restoration, but God is still waiting for submission. You're pleading for breakthroughs, but still clinging to your way, your vision, your version of the outcome. You see, God will never compete with your control. He will wait until your heart is fully yielded, and then, only then, He will pour out what no plan of man could ever produce. Let go of your need to understand everything before you trust anything. This is where most stumble. They want signs before surrender. They want guarantees before obedience. But God doesn't work that way. He calls you into the deep while the shore is still visible behind you. He whispers, "Step out," before there's even a road beneath your feet. Why? Because faith is not faith if it comes with certainty. Faith is proven in the unknown. It is demonstrated in the moment you say, "God, I do not see the way, but I know you are the way." Let me speak directly to the one whose nights are sleepless, whose mind is tormented by what-ifs, and maybe you are mentally exhausted from trying to anticipate every outcome, fix every problem before it arises, control every variable. That is not wisdom. That is torment. It is a prison disguised as responsibility. It is a subtle lie from the enemy that says, if you just try harder, maybe everything will stay safe. But there is no safety outside of surrender. There is no peace in prediction, only in the providence of God. You must understand the foundation of real power is not found in controlling people, money, or situations. It is found in being anchored so deeply in God that the winds of life no longer shake you. And the only way to be anchored is to let go of everything else that competes for that place. Pride cannot anchor you. Plans cannot anchor you. People cannot anchor you. God alone must be your anchor. And to take hold of Him fully, you must loosen your grip on everything else. Don't just release the outcome, release the timeline. God is not slow. God is not late. He is exact. He is precise. The delay you see is not divine negligence. It is divine perfection. There is something He is shaping in the delay, something He is growing in your waiting. The fire you are in is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to purify your trust. Every second of waiting is heaven's invitation to go deeper in faith. But you can't walk deeper if you're still tied to the surface of your own expectations. You want God to move? Then move out of His way. Some of you have been praying for God's will, but all the while demanding your own way. You've been standing at the altar of prayer while secretly bowing to the idol of control. But those two cannot exist in the same heart. You must choose. Either you trust God's plan or you insist on your own. And let me assure you, only one of those leads to peace. Only one of those unlocks the power of the unseen hand of God. Your control is not protecting you, it's limiting you. It's closing the windows heaven wants to open. It's caging the wind that God wants to blow across your life. You think your grip is keeping things from falling apart, but it's really keeping them from falling into place. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your life, your family, your future, is to stop holding it hostage to your fear. God can do more in a moment of surrender than you can do in a lifetime of striving. Now listen, this is not a call to laziness. This is not about folding your hands and refusing to act. No. Surrender is not inactivity, it is divine alignment. When you surrender, you don't stop moving, you move with God. You move when He leads. You speak when He gives the words. You act when He opens the door. That is where the power lies, not in forcing outcomes, but in flowing with divine timing. That is how you rise above human limits, by aligning your steps with the One who has no limits. Many are afraid to let go because they don't want to lose control. But my friend, that control you're afraid to lose was never yours to begin with. You didn't control the day you were born, and you won't control the moment you leave this world, and everything in between is held by God. The sooner you understand that, the sooner your heart will know rest, the kind of rest that no success can give and no failure can steal. Some of you are still waiting for everything to be safe before you surrender. But safety is not the absence of storms. It is the presence of God in the midst of them. Do not wait for the storm to pass before you surrender. Surrender in the storm. That is where your soul learns to stand, not on the ground of human understanding, but on the rock of divine promise. I speak to those building their futures like towers of glass, carefully, nervously, trying to stack every piece just right. And yet, one gust of life's wind brings it all crashing down. That's not how God wants you to live. That's not what He designed you for. He didn't form you from dust just to live in fear of falling. He formed you to walk in faith. And faith doesn't build with glass. It builds with stone. It lays a foundation in the eternal, not the fragile. And that kind of foundation only comes from surrender. Let go of the fear that if you stop controlling, everything will crumble. It is not your hands that hold your life together, it is God's. And He does not fumble, He does not forget, He does not fail. He is not limited by your past, your present, or your perceived problems. What you see as impossible is merely a breath to God. But He waits, not for your help, but for your humility. Don't just let go of situations, let go of how you think they should turn out. That is where the deepest surrender happens, when you say, God, even if you take me a different way, I will go. Even if you lead me through fire, I will follow. Even if I never understand, I will still trust you. That is the language of the surrender. That is the heart that attracts miracles. And I declare to you today, the moment you stop chasing control, you will start experiencing peace. A peace that is not logical. A peace that does not come from things going your way, but from knowing God is in the way, clearing it, shaping it, and guiding it for your good. That peace is available now, not tomorrow, not when everything makes sense, but right now. And all it takes is this. Lay it down, speak it out, declare with your whole heart, God, I let go, you lead. If you do this, not just with your mouth, but with your heart, you will see a shift. You will feel it in your soul. The anxiety will lift. The tension will ease. Not because life suddenly got easy, but because you're no longer carrying it alone. You will find strength in your weakness, clarity in your chaos, calm in the middle of your storm. Because when you let go, God moves. He moves in quiet whispers that steady your heart. He moves in divine interruptions that protect you from unseen harm. He moves in silence, and He moves in fire. He moves when you least expect it, and in ways you could never imagine. But He does not move while you're still trying to play God. That space belongs to Him alone. So make a choice, right here, right now. Choose to stop resisting, choose to stop explaining, choose to stop doubting, choose to stop being your own God, choose surrender. And when you do, you will not just feel God, you will see God. You will see Him in the small things. You will see Him in the delays that became deliverance. You will see Him in the silence that protected your spirit. You will see Him because you finally gave Him room to be seen. Let go, not just with your hands, but with your soul. Trust the one who wrote your story before you ever took your first breath. Trust the one who parts seas, who calms winds, who lifts valleys, who exalts the humble. Trust the one who doesn't need your control to accomplish His will. He needs your surrender. And if you give Him that, if you truly give Him that, you will not only watch God move, you will move with Him into places your control could never have taken you. And I say this now with the full weight of conviction in my heart. True freedom does not begin when everything is under your control. True freedom begins the moment you place everything under God's authority. That's when the chains fall off. That's when the heart starts to breathe again. You were not created to be the master of your own destiny. You were created to walk in step with the Almighty, the one who knows the end from the beginning. And the path from control is the silent enemy of faith. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It disguises itself as wisdom, as caution, as logic. It makes you believe that your plans are safer than God's. But let me tell you, there is no safety outside of God's will. There is no protection in your own understanding. Your wisdom is limited, but God's knowledge is limitless. Your insight is clouded, but God's vision is perfect. What you call control is often a mask for mistrust, and mistrust is not harmless. It's a barrier that blocks the miraculous. You're not failing because life is hard. You're failing because you're fighting God's hands. You're resisting the very hands that formed you, the hands that can build what you're trying to build faster, better, and stronger. But He will not wrestle you for control. He will wait for you to yield. And in that yielding, a new kind of strength is born, the kind that no storm can shake and no devil can undo. But strength doesn't come from controlling the outcome. It comes from trusting the one who controls everything. Stop praying for peace while holding on to the chaos. You cannot carry both. Let go of the burden you were never designed to carry. Some of you are tired because you're playing God in situations where only God has the power to fix, heal, restore, or redeem. And you wonder why the weight keeps getting heavier. It's because God is letting you feel the burden of trying to play a role that was never yours, not to punish you, but to awaken you, to call you back into position, not as the controller of outcomes, but as the vessel of faith. Let go of your need for immediate answers. Some of you are paralyzed by questions. You won't move until you know everything, see everything, understand everything. But God never promised clarity. He promised presence. He never said you'd always know the why. He said trust in the midst of the unknown. And that trust, that deep and raw reliance on Him, is what releases the divine flow of His power into your life. You don't need more information. You need more submission. That's where the breakthrough comes. I speak to those who feel like they're in a wilderness. Nothing around you makes sense. Every direction feels blocked. You're crying out for guidance, yet all you hear is silence. But the silence of God does not mean the absence of God. Sometimes the silence is the stillness before the shift. And that shift often requires a sacrifice, the sacrifice of control, the surrender of your plans so that God's plan can unfold. Don't despise the silence. Don't fear the wilderness. Let go and let God speak in ways you've never heard before. Do you know what trust looks like in its purest form? It looks like peace. When nothing around you gives you reason to be calm, it looks like standing still while everyone else is running in panic. It looks like choosing to be planted instead of pulled. And that only comes when you've released control, when your heart stops wrestling and starts resting in the knowledge that God is sovereign, completely, eternally, unfailingly sovereign. So many people think they're walking in faith. but they're really walking in fear with a spiritual mask. They've disguised anxiety as diligence. They've confused panic with passion. But God is not looking for frantic energy. He's looking for faithful surrender. He's not asking you to do more. He's asking you to believe deeper, to let go, not just with your hands, but with your heart. To stop holding on to things you can't fix and start holding on to the promise that God will not fail you. Let go of your attachment to timing. There is a divine rhythm to God's plan, and your timeline is not the blueprint. You're not late, you're not behind, you're not forgotten, you're being prepared. But preparation requires pruning, and pruning requires surrender. If God is cutting something away, let it go. If He's asking you to pause, trust the process. If He's redirecting your steps, it's because He sees what you cannot see. And what He sees is always for your good, even when it feels like loss. Some of you are holding on to wounds, past betrayals, past failures, past regrets, and you've convinced yourself that control's the only way to protect yourself from being hurt again. But in doing so, you've built walls that not only keep pain out, they keep God out too. You've armored your heart, but in the process, you've silenced the healing. Let go of the past. Let go of the narrative that says, I must protect myself. No, you must be protected by God. Only He can guard your heart without hardening it. Only He can heal the wound without scarring your spirit. Letting go is not passive. It's the most courageous act of obedience you will ever commit to. It is bold, it is fierce, it is loud in the spiritual realm. When you let go of what you thought you needed, heaven leans in. When you release your plan, angels move into motion. When you say, God, I'm done trying to be in control, you are not defeated, you are being elevated. What's waiting on the other side of your surrender is greater than anything your control could have built. There's peace waiting for you. There's clarity waiting for you. There's strength, power, and divine favor waiting for you. But it's not coming through your planning, it's coming through your posture. And the posture that invites the greatest power is the posture of open hands and bowed hearts. Let go, not just because you're tired of fighting. Let go because there is a better way. God's way is not predictable, but it is perfect. It is not always painless, but it is always purposeful. And every time you release something from your hand, He replaces it with something your heart truly needs. What you thought was a loss becomes a gift. What you thought was an end becomes a beginning. But you will never know this unless you step out of control and into faith. This is the moment, not tomorrow, not next year, right now. There is power in the present when it is placed in the hands of God. Don't wait for your situation to change to trust Him. Trust Him, and watch your situation change. Not always in the way you expect, but always in the way that glorifies His greatness and perfect wisdom. God doesn't want your performance. He wants your permission to move. And He is standing ready to act, to shift, to pour out, if you would only let go. And I tell you now, there comes a point in your spiritual journey when holding on becomes more dangerous than letting go. When trying to fix, force, or control becomes a burden too heavy for your soul. You weren't created to be your own provider, your own protector, your own savior. That role belongs to God alone. He who fashioned you in secret knows what you need more than you know what to ask. But you cannot receive from a hand that remains closed. You cannot be filled while still grasping at empty solutions. There's a reason the blessings haven't flowed yet. There's a reason peace has not settled in your spirit. Because control has become the idol of your heart. It's sitting on the throne where only God belongs. And idols never deliver what they promise. They deceive, they drain, they destroy. But the moment you dethrone control and exalt God, that's the moment things begin to shift. That's when prayers start moving mountains. That's when peace flows like a river through the storm. You must decide today, will you continue building with bricks made of fear, or will you build with faith anchored in God? Faith does not need every detail spelled out. Faith does not need a forecast. Faith says, even if the way is dark, I know God is guiding me. That kind of faith cannot grow in a heart addicted to control. You must break that addiction. You must detox your soul from the illusion that you're holding everything together. The truth is, God is the one sustaining your breath, your heartbeat, your tomorrow. And when you truly understand that, the fear begins to lose its power. God is not waiting for you to impress Him with your strategies. He's waiting for you to invite Him into the very places you've tried to manage alone. The lonely rooms, the broken dreams, the decisions that haunt you at night, the relationships you're trying so hard to fix. Let Him in, not as a consultant, not as a backup plan, but as the sovereign guide of your every step. He doesn't want partial trust. He wants full authority. He doesn't want you to simply acknowledge Him. He wants you to surrender to Him. And that surrender is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form. It is the boldness to say, God, I trust your plan even when I don't see the blueprint. I believe in your wisdom even when mine has run dry. I lean on your understanding because mine has led me to dead ends. That kind of surrender releases spiritual power. It's not loud, but it echoes through eternity. It's not dramatic, but it tears down strongholds, because where there is true surrender, there is true access to the power of God. Stop living like everything depends on you. That is a heavy yoke you were never meant to carry. That weight has worn you down, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You've been pushing, striving, calculating, but you've forgotten the most powerful thing you can do is fall on your knees and say, God, I release it to you. And when you do that, not with hesitation, but with holy conviction, you unleash something that no effort of yours could ever produce. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough to trust that God knows better, that His hand will lead you places your own planning never could, that His timing, though often mysterious, is always perfect. You see, the same God who orchestrates the movement of the planets is orchestrating your life. He is not random. He is not reactionary. He is precise. And you have not been forgotten. You have been positioned for something far greater than what your hands could ever build. Let go of the fear of failure. Some of you are still trying to control every decision because you're terrified of making the wrong one. But fear will never lead you into divine purpose. Only faith will. Trust that even if you take a step and stumble, God will catch you. He will redirect you. He will use your mistake as material for your growth. What you see as deter, He sees as development. What you call a delay, He calls preparation. Let go of your need to be understood. Some of you are bound by the opinions of others. You're adjusting your direction, changing your language, hiding your faith just to keep people pleased. But let me tell you, control built on human approval will always crumble. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be obedient to God. And obedience will often make you look foolish before it makes you fruitful. Do not fear rejection. Fear resisting the one who calls you. Do not chase applause. Chase alignment with the will of God. Let go of your past. Some of you are not controlling the future. You're being controlled by yesterday. Regret has become your companion. You replay old scenes, old words, old failures, and because of that, you are afraid to trust God with your next step. But God does not live in your past. He lives in your purpose, and He has the power to redeem, restore, and repurpose everything you've been through. Nothing you've gone through is wasted when surrendered to God. He turns ashes into strength. He turns scars into wisdom, but He cannot use what you won't release. Let go of your self-reliance. The world may applaud independence, but God calls you into dependency. Dependency not on people, not on systems, but on Him alone. He is your source, your provision, your protector, your defender, your wisdom. Everything you are looking for in all the wrong places can be found in Him. But to receive it, you must stop depending on yourself. Your greatest enemy in this hour is not the outside world, it's the inner voice that says, "I've got this." No, you don't. But God does, and He's waiting for you to stop trying to play God and start trusting the only true God. Let go of your limited expectations. Some of you are only trusting God as far as your logic can stretch. But God is not limited to your imagination. What He has prepared for you is far beyond what your mind can conceive. He's not just preparing blessings that match your dreams, He's preparing ones that surpass them. But He will not pour out abundance into a heart that only trusts partially. You must let go of the box you've put Him in. You must allow Him to be as great as He truly is, not just with your words, but with your surrender. And let go of the clock. You've been looking at the hour, the calendar, the season, wondering why it hasn't happened yet. But God is not a prisoner of time. He operates in the fullness of seasons, not seconds. And sometimes He waits until every other door has shut, so that when He opens His door, you will know, without a doubt, this was God and God alone. Don't measure God's faithfulness by your schedule. We measure it by His nature. He is never early, never late. He is always right on time. You see, the beauty of surrender is not just that it brings peace, it is that it brings alignment. When you let go, you align your life with a force far greater than yourself. You become a vessel, not a controller, a channel, not a dam. And through that vessel, God flows. He flows with wisdom. He flows with provision. He flows with protection. And He flows with direction that no map or plan could provide. Letting go is not the end of control. It is the beginning of divine movement. And when you finally release it all, when you stop reaching and start resting, when you stop fighting and start flowing, you will watch God move in a way you never thought possible. Not because He wasn't willing before, but because now you are ready. Ready to trust, ready to believe, ready to walk, not by sight, but by surrender. Let every fiber of your being hear this truth. The reason the weight feels so unbearable is because you are trying to carry what only God was meant to hold. You are not created to be all-knowing, all-powerful, or in control of every outcome. That is not your role, that is God's. And the longer you insist on carrying what belongs to Him, the more exhausted your soul will become. It is not noble to suffer under a load you were never assigned. It is not brave to pretend you are fine while breaking on the inside. Real strength is not in holding it together, it is in handing it over. You don't need to figure out every answer. You don't need to solve every equation. God never called you to be the source. He called you to trust the source. And when you trust fully, you stop panicking over the unknown and begin living in the peace of what is eternally known, that God is in control, that He is near, that He is sovereign, and that He is working even in the silence. Your surrender is not a delay. It is a signal to heaven that you are finally ready to be led. Stop asking for direction while still gripping the steering wheel. God cannot steer a life that won't yield. You say you want clarity, but you refuse to be still. You say you want peace, but you keep wrestling for control. And God, in His mercy, will let you come to the end of yourself, not to shame you, but to show you that only when you let go can His glory come in full. You see, God does not meet you at the peak of your plan. He meets you at the altar of your surrender. That's where the real journey begins. You may feel like you're being stripped, but don't fear the stripping. The stripping is sacred. God removes what you cling to so He can become the one you cling to. He takes away the illusions, the idols, the distractions, not to harm you, but to heal you. And sometimes healing looks like losing. Sometimes freedom feels like falling. But when you fall into the hands of God, you fall into the only place where you are fully held, fully known, and fully sustained. Let go of your obsession with outcomes. You do not need to know what will happen. You only need to know who holds what will happen. The future is not a mystery to God. What confuses you is already clear to Him. What delays you is already settled in His design. And you may see fragments, but He sees the full tapestry. And that's why trust is not optional, it's essential. Because the walk of faith is not paved with answers, it's paved with surrender. When you let go of control, you are not giving up your destiny. You are giving your destiny back to the one who authored it. And He will not fail. He cannot fail. He does not make mistakes. His plans are perfect, even when they pass through pain. His timing is flawless, even when it stretches your patience. His guidance is sure, even when the path looks dim. That is why the wisest thing you can do in this very hour is surrender. Surrender not just your burdens, but your identity. Stop defining yourself by your mistakes. Stop defining yourself by your titles, your status, your achievements. Those things shift like sand, but God's view of you is rooted in eternity. You are not what happened to you. You are not what you lost. You are not what you fear. You are what God declares you to be. And only when you let go of your own definitions can you step into your true calling. Let go of trying to manage the emotions of others. You are not responsible for the reactions, assumptions, or opinions of people. You were never meant to be controlled by their approval or disapproval. Your worth was never meant to hang on their affirmation. The moment you let that go is the moment you reclaim your peace. Because when God is your source, you are no longer a slave to public opinion. God defines you. You are no longer tossed by the waves of human praise or criticism. And hear this with all your heart. There is divine protection in surrender. God is not only guiding your path, He is guarding your path. There are traps you never stepped into because He blocked the way. There are conversations you never had because He shut the mouth of the enemy. There are disasters you avoided, not because of your wisdom, but because of His mercy. And yet, we question Him when He delays. We doubt Him when He redirects. But all the things He has spared you from, that you will never even know. There are prayers you prayed that God didn't answer because He loves you more than you understand. There are doors you begged Him to open that remain shut, not to hurt you, but to protect you. And when you surrender, you stop being bitter about what didn't happen and start being grateful for the unseen battles God won on your behalf. You realize that silence is not rejection, it's redirection. And sometimes closed doors are the loudest way God says, "Trust me." Let go of your grip on the familiar. God cannot move you into the next season if you're still chained to the comfort of the last one. Growth requires release. Faith requires risk. And sometimes God will call you to leave what is safe so you can find what is sacred. He'll pull you out of routine so He can awaken your spirit. He'll stretch your border so He can expand your vision. And the blessing you're praying for may not come wrapped in comfort. It may come wrapped in discomfort that pushes you toward His higher purpose. You see, when God moves, He doesn't ask for your permission. He asks for your cooperation. And your cooperation begins where your resistance ends. He doesn't need your plan. He needs your yes. And that yes must be unconditional, not a yes that depends on results, not a yes that is tied to timing, a pure yes, a surrendered yes, a yes that says, God, even if the way is unfamiliar, I will walk. Even if the answer is silence, I will wait. Even if the cost is high, I will obey. Let go of your timelines. God is never in a rush because He is never late. And you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are in the hands of the master planner. and He is preparing something far greater than you asked for. What looks like delay is divine preparation. What feels like stagnation is strategic stillness. God is working in the background while you are learning to trust in the foreground. And that trust, that unwavering trust, is what opens the floodgates of His purpose. Let go of your conditions. Stop telling God how He must bless you. Stop limiting His movement to your preferences. God is not here to serve your agenda. He is calling you into His. And His agenda, it is perfect. It leads not to confusion, not to chaos, but to life, to freedom. But it's only unlocked by those who dare to lay it all down. Those who boldly say, not my will, not my way, not my plan, but yours, O God, yours alone. And when you arrive at that sacred place, where pride is broken, where fear is silenced, where control is surrendered, you will encounter God not as theory, not as distant, but as present, powerful, personal. You will see Him in the quiet delays. You'll sense Him in the moments that once felt like setbacks. You'll witness His power in the pauses that once frustrated you. And suddenly, you will understand surrender wasn't losing control. It was finally stepping into alignment with the One who never fails, who holds all things together, including you. So let go. Let go boldly as one who trusts. Let go joyfully, knowing who's taking over. Let go with holy confidence that your Father is not only able, He is willing. He is not only sovereign, He is intentional with every breath you take, every step you make. And if you would just release the reins, He will carry you where your striving could never reach. He will lift you higher than your plans dared to dream. And He will write a story with your life that reflects His glory, not because you directed it, but because you surrendered it. Let that be your offering. Let that be your freedom. Let that be your legacy.